up and coming singer, very pretty girl, nice body, like she was catching. Men can do this thing. You know, you've discussed this loads of time. A man can have 10 girls and have no feeling for all 10 of them. But for a woman, I mean, I don't want to talk on behalf of women. But I think it's more difficult for them, you know. So Two-Face is definitely not lying. It's definitely on point with that. But you know, the truth is hard to hear sometimes with our people, and you know, even in the world right now.
You know, the fact that the world is choosing what statements are politically correct and what statements not, does not do away with the truth.
Yeah.
Does not do away with the truth. The truth will always be the truth. I say this all the time. My papa, my grandfather get 4 wives. My papa get 2 wives. My junior brother get 2 wives. And you are telling me that polygamy is not normal.
Yeah.
Somebody said there's a difference between polygamy and cheating. Both polygamy and cheating show that one woman know the rich man.
Yeah.
That's cheating. Means one woman
you're absolutely right. And if
one woman know the rich man.
Yep.
And our societies and our cultures and our religions all attest to this. Christianity. Someone says Fornicators Association defending themselves. All John 2:47.
Straight bullet, man, hit my brain.
Only wow. Faith. BSM. Fornicators. So Abraham that had concubines a fornicator. Our father of faith. Can we be telling ourselves the truth?
You do, dear, sorry to interject as well. You know, one thing that we don't also discuss, I mean, I'm not polygamist. You know, I've made that clear the first time we discussed this as well. I mean, one woman sometimes can be a headache. You know, talk less of having 3, you know, I can't deal with it. But what we don't discuss in Africa is like, even, let's take UK, the British, for example, that brought monogamy to Africa. If you look at the history of the British, up to the eras of is it the Tudors or whatever they call them, polygamy was allowed in this country. Men were having more than 1 wife. They were even having
I get 2 wives.
They were even going to brothels, you know.
2 wives.
So, you know, it's something that it was like classism. You know, it becomes something that is like only for the affluent, and then all of a sudden it become religious, and then they brought it to Africa. So we don't know the history of things, and we just jump on the bandwagon, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Ashewa Association, Polygamist Association. But you have to understand, why are we doing these things? What is the reason behind it? You know, so you can have a clearer understanding. But yeah, people are funny, man.
You see, we need to tell ourselves the truth. Someone said Christ said he was not so from the beginning. I totally agree. But you see, you see the problem with Christians and biblical interpretation is they don't read the Talmud, the Mishnah, the Midrash. They just read the Bible. The Bible is a summary of so many books. The Talmud, the Midrash, the Torah, the Pentateuch, you know, and the Bible is a rather poor summary. The Bible is a rather poor summary of, and who summarized the Bible? Who put the books together? It is Europeans, not the Jews. And Europeans are monogamous. Jewish people, according to history, are not monogamous. Africans are not monogamous. So Europeans try to sell the narrative of their cultural constructs as biblical because they summarize the Bible. I was watching something where a girl, I sent it to Ada, where a girl was talking about King James. I'm going to address it tomorrow. And let me tell you what it says. I sent it to Ada. I don't know if Ada remembers. Let me look for it in my chat with Ada. Ada, I know something and give you. It's right there. The girl says, I feel like the Bible is God's word that was translated through men. Also believe the Bible has gone through many hands. For example, there's a scripture that says, when the enemy comes like a flood, I will raise up a standard. But the Hebrew said, when the enemy comes in, like a flood, I will raise the standard. So when the enemy comes in like a flood, meaning the enemy is the flood, God will raise the standard. But the actual Bible says when the enemy comes in like a flood, I will standard. So the flood is God. So simply with ordinary one comma, see how they change the narrative of the narrative. So the moment you start to read Bible in proper context, and this is what I tell Pentecostals, you guys are wasting your time going to your Pentecostal churches. Una just they go do it done. As in nothing. I've not seen a Nigerian pastor personally, I've not met that properly understands the cultural, historical context of scripture. I watched, Simply Vic sent me something on Sunday, and I used it for the Sunday service. And it goes thus. I'm looking. It goes thus. The guy says, you don't need to know Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic to understand the Bible. You don't need to. But if you don't know Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic, then you need to trust those who know Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic and interpreted the Bible. Because the Bible was never written in English. The English Bible is only 400 years old.
Yep.
So before 400 years ago, what language were they reading this Bible? It was Latin. Yep. Before Latin, what language what was the original language of the Bible? The original language of the Bible is Greek for the New Testament and Hebrew and Aramaic for the Old Testament. He says you need to trust those who know Greek, Hebrew. But then he went on to say, but when you don't know Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic, how do you interrogate the historical textual constructs that these come up with? Those who translated the Bible made a lot of errors that you can never know if you don't know the original languages. So,
no, go on. Sorry. Go on. I was going to add something as well.
When you jump into a biblical construct without understanding the historical meaning, without understanding history, without understanding the poetry of the Jews, without ever reading the antiquities of the Jews, you just jump in and say, wait, one mad person, whether they call King James, sit down one day, do it done, translate nonsense. You will always be alienated from what the original.
And you know the other thing as well, something just popped to my mind as well as you saying this, which is I totally agree with, even though people might not like it. Even if you understand the original language of the Bible, do you still know, DF, that you can still miss the context of what it says? I'll give you an example. I'll look at my daily life now. So I work as a project manager here, and in the UK, a lot in the office, and both people, like white people, would prefer you if there's any meeting, you ring them or have a Zoom meeting with people. Because here's the thing, I can send you an email now, and if you are angry, let's say your daughter just got you angry, and you write my email in an anger, the email will have a different meaning, even though we both speak in English.
Yeah. Yes,
do you understand? Do you know that?
Yeah.
Like yeah, because it depends on the emotion. Like, you know, if you are angry and you read the email, you just like, what was this guy talking about? What was this? So it's different unless if I'm there physically. So like, oh yeah, when DF was saying this, he was smiling, he was pointing to this, he was doing this, and none of us are there. We just like, you know.
Let me tell you something. Even the original Greek that was used to write the Bible is called Koine Greek. It's not the Greek we have today.
Yep.
So even if you understand the Greek Bible, and this is what I showed them in church on Sunday. If you read Mark chapter 16, which is the last chapter of Mark, it gets many endings. Bible is NLT. NLT says there's a shorter and a long. Ask that.
Yeah, well, I was there. I was the church on Sunday. I saw it. I heard it.
And a longer. So even Bible, they tell you, say, there are two different endings for the chapter, for the book of Mark. There's a shorter one and a longer one. That already shows confusion.
Confusion, yes.
And NLT says that the more accurate scriptures end in before verse 9. So the less accurate scriptures have 9 to 20, but the more accurate ones. So what are we saying is there are some scriptures that are some manuscripts that are more accurate than others.
Yep.
In your original languages. So when you pick up the Bible and as an authoritative word of God, it just shows you are very stupid.
Yeah.
Totally. Bible like this. I can't hold it like this. The word of God. It just shows that you have sense.
Yeah.
Because you can't hold on to the Bible as the word of God when the Bible itself is telling you that there were some more reliable manuscripts and some less reliable manuscripts, and the more reliable manuscripts ended like this, and the less reliable manuscripts ended like this. But here are both of them, sir, for you. So, which one is the word of God, the longer ending or the shorter ending? So until you are ready to sit down and actually interrogate those who translated, what did they translate? You will always have, ends in verse 8. Thank you very much. You will always have these discrepancies. So when you take a book out of its cultural context, now let me even give you a very serious issue. Christ did not speak Greek. He spoke Hebrew, Aramaic, probably knew a few words in Latin because Israel was a Roman conquest. Yeah. What? Everything that was written in Greek. So they had even changed his name while he was alive to Jesus. Because everything was written in Greek. So even while he was alive, they don't do new, Igbo people don't change his name while he was alive.
Yeah.
And the Latin Bible took over from the Greek Bible, and all they did was copied what the Greek wrote. They did not bother to go and verify from Hebrew and Aramaic. No need. Our fellow white people have done it. Let's follow them.
And we just follow.
When you see these things, you now need to start worrying about concepts like polygamy that were never described as immorality.
Yep.
The word fornication was a coined word. It did not exist. That's why you will never see fornication in NLT. Fornication is the stupidity of King James. The word is porneia. Porneia did not mean fornication because fornication did not. Go and read NLT. You don't see fornication there. You don't see fornication in NIV. So, and whether you call it fornication or porneia or immorality, polygamy was never considered immorality or porneia. So we get to a point where Christ advises one man, one woman, but does not vilify.
He didn't make it a law. You know, you can advise your son, for example, like, oh, you know, if I was you, I would do something like this. That doesn't, I mean, that advice is not a law. You know, it's just like saying from your own point of view, like, oh, it might be better this way, but it doesn't mean that that's a law.
It's not like, for instance, when Paul advises, he says, do not neglect the gathering of the brethren. He does not say if you neglect the gathering of the brethren, you will go to hell. He does not neglect the gathering of the brethren, you will be poor. So it is not a law, it is advice. Those that neglect the gathering of the brethren, they still made heaven.
Heaven, yeah.
But Christ says, without love,
you cannot.
The two most important commands are love God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Then the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 14 says, all the law is summed up into love your neighbor as yourself. Then 1 John chapter 4, verse 8 says, he who does not love does not know God. So now this is no longer advice. This is an instruction. If you don't love, you don't know God. Simple. All the law is translated into love your neighbor as yourself. So if you want to uphold the law, love your neighbor as yourself. So that now shows that without love, you cannot make heaven. But if you like, don't gather with the brethren, pray alone, the scriptures alone, you will still heaven. So you see, someone said that's why in the Quran, if you don't understand Arabic, you can't understand.
I was about to say that's what I totally agree with that. As much as Christians might not like it, I think the Quran has the upper edge in terms of, like, there's no dilution of mistranslation in Quran. You have to learn Arabic to understand it, and I mean, you can then retranslate it in whichever way you want in your own, but it's not like, oh, it goes through Latin to English to French and then came to Africa. No, I totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
Dave, I think you need to answer. One lady put a question here. It says, so does that mean no man, is this meaning men can never be faithful? Oliver Cakes.
Here's what I said. I said it is not natural for men to be faithful, but it is noble. It is noble. But you see, faithful, because it's unnatural to men, requires work. It's like swimming. It's not a fish is born inside water, as they born and like it's done the swim already. It doesn't need to go to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
But a human being is not born with the ability to swim. It has to learn it. I don't know if I'm making sense. A human being has to learn how to swim because it's not natural. You learn how to walk by yourself, but you cannot learn how to swim by yourself. You have to be taught how to swim. If they threw you into deep water by yourself, you will not learn how to swim. So, a man that wants to be monogamous, a man that wants to stay with one wife, must be prepared to go against his nature. That is why you have to be careful not to be in a relationship with a woman where they stress you. Woman, they stress you, you go cheat. Just, it has happened to me before. I was in a relationship with one babe. I told the story the other day when I was in the university. And she don't like me at the chop cigar. I just big shout out, by the way, to people sending me money guns. Oluwa Fumi Iyom. Oluwa Fumi Yom 7. Guys, follow Oluwa Fumi Yom 7. Sent me 2 money guns. Special shout out to you, Oluwa Fumi Yom. Thank you so much. Oluwa Fumi Niyi. Guys, follow Oluwa Fumi Niyi. I'm following him. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. My top gifter on TikTok. Very, very special shout out to you. If you're watching on Facebook, remember to send me stars. Go to Facebook, search for Daddy Freeze, DADDYFREEZE. Scroll down to today's message, click on it. Bottom left-hand corner, you will see how to buy stars. If you're watching on TikTok, on the video, you will see how to buy stars. And a special shout out to YouTube people. Send me those super chats and those super stickers if you know you're enjoying the live video. Let me give a big shout out to those who are sending me super chats on YouTube. So let me tell you what happened here. I was not cheating in this relationship. But you see, because this particular woman was an overload in, you know, there are some women you would deal with.
Yeah.
Emotionally, they will overload you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Emotionally, they will overload you.
Yeah.
Like, and she was a drama queen. I remember talking to her in her hostel one day and she fainted. But as she did faint, she don't knock head for ground. She went down, her hand stopped ground before she finally.
Nollywood style.
Baba, she just did this, you know, be say anything. But I still, you know, then she was just a drama effing queen.
Yeah.
So that day, me and Am don't get issue before on top cigar. She told me it was a deal breaker. Sheon Caleb Edu is my #1 gifter on TikTok, by the way. Big shout out to Sheon. She told me, say, she know one day with person where they chop cigar. And me, they chop my cigar, so I can't hide they chop the cigar. So I'll see her off to a hostel, hug her, kiss her, good night. As I can't go my room for night, I will just stop, collect 2 cigars.
Then go to
chop my. Now, so her friend, that's why I say with friends, Baba, 90% of problem inside marriage, now friend, they cause them.
Yep.
90% of problem inside your marriage, now your friend cause them. 90% of problem for your mama married, now her friend them cause them. Or your papa friend. So her friend can't go meet them, can't go tell them. Imagine, waiting that idiot stand to gain. One baba with it like this. You see the girl thing be like, can't get big head, big teeth. They call her shy, or I'll be waiting me, whether they call her that year. What thing? As if you see this, oh no. Very funny looking scallywag. Can't go report to him friend, say, Baba the chop cigar. Now so come fight me, can't disappear from school. So I find and go at mama's house. Inside panic. Find them everywhere. Find eventually see him where she did. She can't they cry. You they cry from morning to night. Say I did chop cigar. She don't be saying winch they worry you.
What she go do if she see you do like golf will be doing a line of cocaine?
So beg am. I can't stop the cigar for that period.
Yeah.
Say you get, I can't stop the cigar. So further down into the relationship, you know, if you stop cigar like this, you're going to be hungry you.
Yeah. The name for it is I can't remember now. Yeah, if you stop like you have a craving for it. It's the craving, like you get a craving. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. Once, maybe I did walk, rain fall. I don't light the cigar. You understand? So over a period, I can't start again for like 3 months. I shall stop again. Now, so one day we did inside bedroom. I don't say, woman, hey, thank you. Somebody say, send me good night. Thank you so much, Caleb. You don't say, woman, you are a woman for the gist. Woman will not give you drama from nowhere. As you go on mad.
Yep.
Baba, that's why I sit down with this woman. Now, out of the blues, we just started the G, so I can't tell her. So she can't talk, say, this cigar, I say, you sure say you really stopped that time. I can't tell her, say, I stop. But it been get one period like 9 months ago. Say, the thing just catch me again. I shall do it for like 3 months. But I can't fight and eventually I can't stop. And so for middle of the night, this girl says she's breaking up with me. Wow. Begin to pack her load. Wow. He came over to my place. Begin to pack her load. Brother, come and see begging. Come begin to pack her load, go outside. People where they stay with that period for the BQ where they stay.
Yeah. Everybody come and come to beg.
Pack the load. I said, what the?
Wow.
When nobody say, you hear say, I dey bench your sister. On to say, I tell you, say, I still don't stop. So I shall begin beg him. I wanted to run mad. As I beg him, she can't finally agree. The begging start like 10 p.m. for night. She can't finally agree for 5 a.m. for morning. Baba, as I beg him, I can't make up my mind, say, never again will I be in a relationship alone with this woman who will run me mad. The next day at the waka for road, I just jam one babe for a Greek that year. Don't you forget, because the girl na Greek she did do.
So you can't give her the Greek.
So we can't practice more animal husbandry.
Yes, dear.
Baba, now so I get like 3 babes.
Yep.
Just on the side. And guess what? They were free of charge. Yep. This one with me. We're supposed to be my babe. I spend plenty money on top of. But all those other girls, you go visit them, they will cook indomie before you give you coke.
Yep.
When you finish, serve you the.
Yep.
They go serve the
dessert for you.
Don't they ask for any 1 naira. Meanwhile, you where I keep for house. I'm gonna take care of you. You understand?
And the honest thing though, the story, sorry to interject, the story you just shared now, you haven't really done anything wrong, because what you had is the withdrawal symptoms. That's the reason why even in the UK, people who are like addicted to painkillers, they will never tell them to stop using painkillers. If you're using 6 a day, they will tell you to reduce it to 4. From 4, you go to 3. From 3, they will tell you to go to 2. From 2 to go to 1. Because you can't just be like smoking or drinking and then you stop because, oh, Mrs. doesn't like it. Your body will not accept it. You will get that cravings, those urges back again straight away. But yeah, so some women are like that, man.
So what I was trying to say is, for me to be able to succeed in that relationship, I have to have outlet relationships. That's what they call it. Outlet relationships. So anytime she begin to give me stress, I will just think of my other babes. I want another one where they call Sonia.
I know you forget Sonia.
I just once she give me stress, I don't go fight them again. No, that one before I go to fight them. I just the look clocks and they go break. I will go find Sonia. They go break. More. More. 7 a.m. like we when they wake up for 11 normally. Even when I did school, any class before 10 is a free period. Come on. As I take go school, and God just guide me through. I know Sabi wake up for morning. Any class 10 is a free period.
Wow. But I know blame you. I mean, especially that time when you're in uni anyway, going back to the topic we were discussing here, something else came to my head. I know you follow Jordan Peterson, the clinical psychologist from Canada. He posted something, I think this was like maybe late last year, that apparently there is a hormones. I mean, it was me and my wife, I even sent it to my wife, that men produce. Basically, they just discovered that men produce when we do fakafiki. I don't want to mention the words. And it's called the bonding hormones. Women are only able to produce it when they born baby. You know, that's why they put babies on, you know, on women's chest the moment the child is born. That's the only time women can produce it. Men is every time that is like our body is always like,
And
you know, during
who attached to their children, you would wonder, see,
oxytocin, that's it. Someone just type it, you are totally oxytocin, that's it. That's it. That's it. That like apparently they only just discovered it last year. Like it was discussing that's why, like, if you're a man, your body is always producing it. You know, like you always want to, you know, do that, and it's during fakafike that your body produces it, and you just have to get it out of your body. And women can only do that during.
So now, one of the reasons, like I was saying, that a man would have that is if he's with a woman that is too stressful. Once you deal with woman and the woman they too stressful, and you love the woman, for you to be able to deal with her stress, you will outsource. So you go just go meet Sonia for morning, and that 3 hours where you go spend for Sonia, you go get distracted from the main problem. I don't know if you are a man here, have you ever been through that before? When you are with a very stressful woman, where they burn up your emotions. Now, that's one. Secondly, when you are with a woman that underperforms, woman
That's a bit.
who fit match you. That's why I tell men, don't date circumcised women if you have high drive. Don't circumcised woman will run you fever. Because many men go into marriage with the intention to be monogamous. Yomi Michael, they give me thumbs up for you to buy my super chat. All of you, where they give me thumbs up, go and buy my money guns on TikTok. Go and buy my stars on Facebook and buy my super chats if you're watching on YouTube. If you truly understand and agree with what I'm saying, come and buy my gifts. You see, when a man, and this goes both genders, when a woman is highly, what's they call her? She has a high drive.
Yeah.
Man, we slow. If they make him cheat.
Yeah.
So you marry man and we want to touch you once in 2 weeks. About you go cheat. That's why they say housewives are the highest cheaters. I'm telling you, I was talking to a friend of mine. Let me read what. Let me read this to you. A friend of mine, Yetunde, sent it to me. I sent it to her. Let me look for it. Before this, it was a hair. There was a guy who came and said, 3 years as a professional trainer, I can tell you for free that housewives are the most unfaithful women on the planet. Then I now forwarded it to her. It was a video of some personal trainer saying, "In don't bench plenty housewives." The guy my friend can't respond, said, "Gym instructors and personal trainers. I remember I mentioned the health club in VI in 2006. Gym was on my street. Personal trainer was young and started off professionally. When I realized his so-called stretching was getting fishy, I stopped going. He will call me and I'll say I'm busy. Next thing, this guy started camping in front of my house. I eventually had to threaten him to get lost. So after that, I was invited by a mother in my daughter's school to join their fitness group. I was like, Kopeo, I don't know, say that frying pan to fire. First week was calm. Second week, they asked why I don't shower in the gym. I responded that they would rather shower at home. Third week, they accosted me to join them after gym to one of them's apartments under the guise of trying a new weight loss smoothie. We got there And when we're gisting, not too long, two of the gym instructors walked in. I knew that moment what was about to go down. I just told them off, and then I'm leaving. I left. These women rented an apartment for good time with gym instructors. This was 2006. So when I know they won't hear gym because I know it, especially for this Lagos. I know what that they go there, go do.
Baba, it's not only Lagos though. It's probably all over the world. If you go even in, I mean, I can definitely talk about UK. It's definitely all over the world.
For women to be able to rent a house for staffing. Just know that the women were not poor. Yep. Do you understand? They were not poor. So if this can happen, just know that housewives who are underutilized will always look for. So when there is fakafiki, when you are not satisfied with fakafiki, this one applies to both male and female, you will cheat.
Yes, definitely.
When a woman is stressed by her husband, the likelihood for her to cheat is not that much. When a man is stressed by his wife, the likelihood for him to cheat is very high.
Yeah. Yeah.
When there is absence or not enough fakafiki, both genders will cheat.
Yeah. Agreed.
Now, when you marry a woman that is circumcised, the pleasure of fakafiki is reduced.
Yep.
So, I don't deal with girl before, we just tickle them small, touch them small, everywhere don't open. If babe, you and I fit date together for 3 months, she no go get orgasm.
That one a marathon, oh.
Unless she wants to do it.
Wow.
So when you have those situations, a man that is actually wired to stay at home will now want to get this thing outside.
Yep.
Being with, that's why they tell men, say, if you like fakafiki, no follow woman with the circumcised. It go worry you.
Yep.
It go stress you.
Yep. And I think partly some of the issues as well. I know your missus stays, but discussed it last time. Our culture has probably like a few percentage to take as a blame for it, because like me and Tesbo was discussing on a live the last time. You know, over here when you meet someone, let's say you meet a babe now, yeah, like I don't care, white, black, Asian, whatever, yeah, on a date, it's those fakafiki thing you would discuss it. How compatible, how do you like it, how often do you do it, what do you like, but you will discuss it, because from there you or the girl will know, say, okay, me and you, we know we are not on the same wavelength, or even okay, maybe congenial bastard, I'll just manage you for now, but I'm moving on. But back home in Africa, it's like things like that. If a girl says it or a man says it, it's like, oh, sorry, I think you want to respond something. If a woman says that or a guy says that, like, oh, this one, this one is bad, this one is this. We have to have this open conversation, because everyone can't be for everyone. There will be, even on this live now, there will be people who will say, oh, they agree with what we're saying. There will be people who don't agree with it. There will be people who will look at Daddy Freeze and say, wow, this man is more good looking than Cristiano Ronaldo. Some people will say, oh, who's Daddy Freeze? No, it's just how life is. And we have to have this open conversation, but it's the cultural and the sociological aspect of our culture back home doesn't allow that conversation at all.
I totally agree with you. And I think we are actually more hypocritical than we even admit to be. Big shout out to someone who sent me a super chat. Yemi Michael sent me $10 super chat.
Shout out to Yemi.
YouTube. Thank you so much, Yemi. Thank you so much. So let's face facts. Men are naturally polygamous, but their women can enable polygamy or enable monogamy. Yeah. When you are with a woman that satisfies you in everything, the tendency for you to go outside is reduced. Because let me tell you, there are consequences of going outside. There's sickness, there's divorce. You don't want to lose your marriage, and when you divorce like this, you go suffer well. Why? So that's it. What are your thoughts, guys and ladies? Send me a request to be in the live. The people who send me requests all have old Instagrams because I've been sending them requests.
I think we have to hear from the women,
Okay.
Because I don't want it to be a boys' conversation.
Bring in Samaria. Okay.
Nothing but disease and billing.
All right. Gentleman here. Hello, sir. Go ahead. I just give us darkness. Don't sleep.
Daddy Freeze. Good evening.
Let me see your face.
Who, Daddy Freeze? Me? No. Me?
Tamara, they wear clothes.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm going to wear clothes.
I knew that.
Olive cakes. Let me add you. This brother will join us. Olive cakes. Can I add you? Oh yeah, olive cakes. Can I add you? Send me a request, olive cakes. I want to hear from the women too. All right. So, all right, over to you, Samaria. What are your thoughts?
Daddy Freeze. Daddy Freeze, what is good? Good evening. What is good for one is good for two. I was watching people say, I watched and I read comments people are saying, men this, men that. I agree with the school of thought that this thing goes both ways. It's just self-discipline and what you tell yourself that you would do. I mean, men are not the only people that see women and they want to have something to do with, go extra. We feel that way too. I don't know about others, but as a human, there are times, in my head, I want to get wild. But the only thing that will stop me from not doing those things is the respect and, my dignity as a human. It's not because I can't go out and do it or I can run around like men would run around. To be honest, I've never seen a man before and I wish or I, felt like getting down with him. But there are times in my head I want to act well. So the same thing is applicable. The same way men feel like they are wired to go about doing all those things. It's the same way a lot of us feel. But we do not do it, and we are not doing it does not mean that we don't feel the same. I mean, who doesn't get tired of eating vegetable soup, for goodness sake? We all get tired of eating vegetable soup. We wish to taste and change our food equally. But if you decide not to do it, it's your choice. It's because you've grown yourself to be that disciplined, not because you can't go about and do it. I don't really like it when men say it's always a man thing to go out there and do otherwise. We feel the same way too. The ladies that see men out there, they're good looking, they like the way they are for some reasons, or they like their personality, how they talk, how they look, or they make some imaginations in their head. But self-discipline is where, I honestly do not agree with that. It's just that the society has made it in a way that men do it, and then it seems like a man thing, and it's justifiable, but it's not. We are the same. We are humans. We have blood. It runs through us. We appreciate good things as well,
Can I comment? Sorry, dear. Samaria.
Please, go ahead.
No, right. Obviously, you've heard both myself and DF say, I can 100% say I'm definitely monogamous. I've got 2 daughters, You know, I have 3 women in my house, and I like sometimes I'll just run away. I just want to go to gym, just chill, be by myself before even coming back in. I know, trust me, I know how it is. But don't you think that the conversation should be about, there should be an open dialogue? So, for example, you single, DF is single, you guys meet each other. If you have this conversation at the beginning, like, oh, what are you into? What do you like? You know, are you polygamous? Are you this? Are you that? You know, you might be cool with it. He might be cool with it. You know, but what is happening most of the time back home is we don't have that conversation, and then all of a sudden DF go jam big money.
Well, we're not talking about I mean, religion. Let's say religion here, whatever, or you know, nationalities. We're talking about in life, generally speaking.
Yeah, but even in I can't really say in life though, because if you obviously you're based in America, for example. I was in Seattle for almost 2 or 3 months last year. And a lot of people there are like into all these like polyamory, poly whatever they call it.
Understandable, but we're talking about.
How is it understandable though?
That one is understandable, right? I mean, there are people who I've had couples approach me countless times, you know, talking about if I would want to get in a relationship with the family and stuff like that. People do that. That's their choices. Yeah, but they agree to it. They consent to it. But we're talking about the fact that men think that they are the only ones that have the rights to cheat.
No, I don't think it's
or
about
that they are wired in a way that they can. I mean, yes, when it comes to a man may, like that Free rightly said, a man may want to get into a woman just to cool off at that time, right? A woman, I don't know about others. For example, me, when I'm stressed out, I like to engage in cooking, cleaning, and stuff like that. Some other may prefer to run into another man's arm. So I think it's a choice thing. So I think when it comes to my gender, we have more self-discipline when it comes to controlling situations like that. For a man who is tense, who is upset, who is stressed out, he may just want to cool off in another woman's arms. But we may want to go shopping, we may want to do some things that, you know, is kind of different. But that does not mean that what is good for one is not good for two. If you as a man, you're thinking that, oh, you are tired of that woman, she probably also tired of you, but she's just there. But because we can help it, because when we get caught, if you get caught, you lose. The man gets caught and that's it. But you, the woman, gets caught and that's it. I mean, your case would be worse than anyone's ex. So these are things where we coming from, the background, our gender, in quote. These are things that keep us, you know, from not doing certain things that men think that they do and get away with it easily. Not the fact that we can do it, or we don't have those, we don't feel like doing it, or we don't crave, or we don't desire good things as well. Everyone do desire a good thing, my dear.
No, I do. I get what you're saying, Samari. But I think I'm trying to look for the words to use.
Friends today.
Is DF? Wow, DF.
They're taking your life.
DF beg Putin may bring light for you now.
No, they go bring them now. Now the thing we did, you see.
Someone just said that he will stay with one rich man. That's it. Choice.
Say that again. Sorry.
Someone wrote that she can't stay with one rich man.
Yeah, but I think going back to the earlier conversation me and DF was saying now, earlier on, the introduction of the topic was, you know, for a guy, and like I said and DF said, a guy can have 5 side chicks and not be emotionally connected to any of the 5.
That's true.
It's not because he's a bad guy or whatever. It's just the way men are. Whereas,
that's true. Then a woman would have one, and the moment she has that one, you forget it. If you are the main person and she decides to keep extra one, she another one. Forget it.
She will get connected to one of them. If you flip the coin, if a woman has this side, I don't want to use the word the size.
Not every woman,
but most.
There are women that derive joy keeping a lot of them. But there are women that stick to one person. But there are women that may, you know, it all depends. But you rightly say, I mean, our women, the truth is this: as a woman, if you have a man who supports you financially to an extent, no matter how rich you are, and who satisfies you for, you know, now for chamber, at least you can, you know, that's cool. You don't really want to pay attention to anyone else out there. But if that man is lacking in one thing or another, then there are chances that, I mean, why do you think that women cheat? Why do you think that women cheat, matter of fact? And when we cheat so clean. We cheat in a way so smoothly that you won't even detect.
Well, obviously I'm not a woman, but from what I mean, like I said, I watch Jordan Peterson a lot, like for podcast, and from what he said, when women cheat, it's more like an emotional cheating that women do.
Well, it's more like an emotional, but I mean, not the truth. I mean, that's not correct. That's not always the case. Because if you're in a relationship with someone, now you're not talking about, yeah, emotions, fine, but do not forget that this is just a relationship, not a marriage. If you are not comfortable in the relationship with the person, you may as well take a walk. But if you decide to stay in that relationship and then cheat, it means it's because there are things you are lacking, which may not necessarily be emotional, because if it's emotional, then you stick to the person that is, giving you or filling up the gap that the other person is not filling up. So you see, this is where the habit comes in. Self-control comes in. Because if, let's say, you're not cheating simply because the person is not taking care of you, or maybe because the person is not good for inner chamber, then why are you cheating? Self-control, this is where it comes in. So the question is, why do you think women cheat? I'm not talking about married people. Why do you think single people cheat?
I don't know. I can't. I'm not a woman. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reason why I said.
Okay. You want to know? We cheat because men are not the only ones wired to cheat. We also wired to cheat. It's all about discipline and self-control.
That
is please, why do you think women cheat?
I've given you this.
Please help me before they turn me to anti-pedo.
Daddy Freeze, why do you think we cheat? When in relationships, not marriage.
When women are not satisfied, and sometimes finances can bring up the need to cheat.
So how about those that is not about finance and is not about bed satisfaction? What do you think would be the reason why they still cheat?
I don't think there's any other reason why women cheat. I don't think so. There's no. Is it that money, or
psychological? Yeah, that's one thing I believe as well. Is it that emotional or psychological? Emotional, psychological.
Well, one guy enters her head and tells her how beautiful she is, and how it actually don't do me before. That's why I enter one shop.
Okay, do you know we cheat when it comes to neglect? Like negligence. I don't know about. I don't like to be ignored. When you neglect me, it gives me. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It needs to be done.
That's psychological then. That's what we just discussed.
No, I'm just saying, most of us. But then it's not all about neglect. There are people wired to cheat as much as men are wired to cheat. There are people that you can't satisfy. That's the truth.
But again, like I'm just throwing the coin there, so I don't want people to jump on me. But even with the people that say they are wired, I'm talking from the female part.
Because one guy that came in refused to leave.
Oh, the guy with no light.
Yes.
Oh, God, beg leave. Oh.
Anyway, as you're rounding off, what are your final thoughts?
I would like the lady go first. Go on, Samaria.
Okay. Well, I'll say do unto others as you would like others to do unto you.
Don't let us.
What is good for one is good for two. Okay. If you give those silly excuses of you can't control yourself, I mean, I think it's my conscience thing, because my conscience won't even let me do things like that. It will really torment me. But if I bring out the inner me, then we'll run the game together. You be the one looking for how to stop shedding tears, because I will so do my that you cry. I'm not there to pet you and be hanging in there wishing and hoping that one day you stop. If you ain't gonna stop, then take a walk out. If you decide to stay and keep doing it, then we'll play the game.
Sean, over to you.
I will round off on the father. I think it's something that we need to start having an open conversation with, first of all. Secondly, also we have to understand, there is not a dig at what Samari said, when you're talking about men that cheat or don't or whatever, or are into open relationship or whatever you want to call it, you have to understand that those men are sleeping or dating women. And if you look at the statistic, majority of those women knows like, oh, you know, so is in relationship, and this, and they will still go ahead with. So it's not like, oh, men are bad, women are good, or whatever. You know, it's a conundrum if that's the right word to use, because it's something like, you know, there are, like you rightly said, there's a lot of women that knows like, oh, you know, a girl can take a china at Daddy Freeze now and be the first person to like Taste Bud every time Taste Bud post food or whatever, but shooting like fire in his shots, like, you know, that even Daddy Freeze have to call Jesus for help. But it happens. So it's something that I just think like, because obviously women are different. Again, I don't want to like say anything, but I'm not one of those people that believes, and my wife is next to me here, but I don't believe like men and women are equal. I don't believe in equality. We are created differently. We have to respect and accept our differences. Because I will tell you something, Samaria. I will end on this. You know, when we talk about this, equality or fairness or whatever, yeah, you've been in a relationship, I've been in a relationship or whatever. Think about how many men that ask you out and then you say yes to one guy. Is it fair on those other guys that you said no to? It's not fair.
You see, that's why you men should appreciate us, because we have more people coming for us. But if we're able to turn this number of people down, so why do you think you're the one who can't control yourself, for goodness sake? Do you know what it means to be turning down every guy that's sliding into my email, my inbox? Imagine how many I turn down in a day, in a week, in a month. And then you sit around and tell me that you're the one who is wired to cheat. Like, seriously? You better don't do that with me, because I'll teach you how to do it.
Oh, no, I think I'm in Samaria's bad good books tonight anyway, so I'm going to keep my mouth.
No, that the freeze is annoying. You know, like, well, I mean, there's certain things we know we can be good at, but we decide not to do it for self-respect. Because of our, for our conscience, discipline, you know, who you are. And then the things that are going on in the world, and someone out there is telling you that it's normal, it's okay because of a gender stuff. Really?
So what changed between, and let's take it back on, what changed between the period of our, let's say, great grandparents, where polygamy was okay in every corners of Africa?
That was the norm then. Okay,
yeah,
that was
but you
they were marrying those wives. They were marrying those women. They weren't keeping them away from us. We were aware of them. If you listen, do you know, I don't have a problem. I don't know about women out there, but if I like you as a lady and my husband tells me he would like to marry you and bring you in, that's okay. I'm good with that. Go ahead. If that makes you happy and gives me my own peace of mind, because all I want is your peace of mind and happiness, I don't mind. I do not mind. But you see, you going Daddy Freeze, he said, I know you're surprised to hear this.
Listen, so if I'm married to you now and I want to in Ada, you will agree.
If I like her, go ahead. If you and I have cool understanding and respect another, go ahead. I'm just saying, but you must make sure you have enough money to take care of us. And I hope in the near future, if I tell you that I like someone else and I would like to bring a person in, you'll also agree to it.
Daddy Freeze, Daddy Freeze, I'm really sorry. My missus is here, and the moment Samaria said you have to have enough money, she goes, she's right. And this is the conversation we have. I always say to her, if a man is rich enough, you can get away with anything with your lady. If you're a good man and you have money. Listen.
Wait, haven't you heard that it's better to cry in Miami than crying in Onitsha? Why would you want to cry in Onitsha when you can actually cry in Miami, for goodness sake? If you want to cry better than cry in Rolls Royce.
Samaria, let's put it this way. Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce and she agreed to stay with him because of who he is. If Jay-Z was frying chicken in the KFC, Beyonce wouldn't stay with him. Imagine if Jay-Z was some guy that was frying chicken in KFC and then cheated on her. He would be.
Forget what I said. I said that if you will be willing, let me bring in mine when the time comes. Then let's do it. Did you hear what I said?
I think if the man
you don't play smart. If you're willing to let me do mine as well, that's okay. Let's do it, because I may fall in love with you someday equally, if that's the case. No, if you come tell me that you fell out of love, that's okay. It's understandable. It happens. I will understand that. If I try to bring out the love to bring you back alive and I'm unable to, that's okay. Go ahead and do what you like. But when my turn comes, if it ever comes, I hope you'll understand. You see, people should take life easy. Life is not that stressful when it comes to, but we're the one that try to make it hard. Do what makes you happy in as much as you're doing the right thing. And people around you are at peace and they're happy with you. Go ahead and do it. That's how I see life. I don't like stress. Mm-mm.
You know, the whole you say.
All right, guys, this is as far as we could go tonight. Thank you so much for all coming out.
If I catch you from behind.
God bless you.
Maria, no,
Everybody take care of yourself.